Okay, good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to another quarterly Foreman's meeting. Just as before, we're recording this meeting so that you can view it later for just to brush up on things or catch up on things or follow up on something you heard and you want to touch base back on. Or if there's other foremen out there that haven't seen it yet, we'll just forward it to them after the meeting. Jason is going to start us off with some safety stuff, and then I'll follow up with a couple of items that I want to discuss. Jason, you want to kick us off?
Yep. Thank you, Sean. Good afternoon, everybody. Thank you for joining. I did send out an email, I believe it was on the 18th. I'm not sure if everyone saw it or not, but it was about the heat that we have now. Obviously, it's summertime, and it seems like it came pretty quick. It has been getting pretty hot and pretty humid out there. So I just wanted to give everybody a few reminders on how to work properly in this heat. Obviously, no matter if it's hot or not, we always say stay hydrated. There is new math now. It says 1 cup of water every 15 to 20 minutes. So that's basically a water bottle every 40 minutes to an hour, which seems like a lot. But if you're out in that sun, I'm sure it's very much so needed. Wear loose clothing. Need to be able to breathe, so your body can stay cool and air can get underneath the clothing. If more shirts are needed for your guys too, so if they don't have high-vis shirts or their vests are sticking to their skin, getting too sweaty, just give me a call. We can either send them out some new vests or get them some shirts if they're working outside, and schedule work accordingly. I know there's always big pushes, to get out working in trenches, pulling wire, whatever you have to do outside, but try to coordinate it that it's not on the days that are going to be ridiculously hot or, have the high UV index, because not everybody can work in the sun the same. Myself, I'm 5 minutes out in the sun, I'm a lobster. So not everybody acclimates to heat the same as well. Somebody might be able to work 8 hours in the heat, no problem. Some people can't do 8 minutes in the heat. So just keep that in mind. If you are working outside, not everybody is built the same for heat. So people do have to acclimate themselves to it a little bit. Increase breaks as needed as well. If you need additional breaks every hour, take 10 minutes, go cool off, get more water. Do it as needed. You're the foreman out there, you're supervising guys. You can make that decision on how frequently they need additional breaks, but they should be encouraged to do so often in a cool, ventilated or shaded area at a very minimum. If you're going to be working outside for a long period of time during the summer, and if you would like an easy up tent or something like that, we do have some kicking around, or we can order you one if you're going to be working outside for a long time. It's definitely worthwhile to get. And then last thing is recognize the signs for heat related illnesses. If you want to go back to that email, you can look on the bottom. There's an attachment to review some of the signs and symptoms of heat related illnesses, whether it's heat stroke or any dehydration, any of the heat related illnesses. Take the time to review that toolbox talk with your crew at some point in the next week or so, if you could. And so everybody in the crew knows how to recognize the signs of heat related illnesses. That's all I have, Sean. Thank you.
No, thanks, Jason. Great points there on the heat too. It's sometimes you forget, and they don't open these windows. They don't get AC on in these buildings, and the 100 degrees in there. Gotta take some time to stay hydrated. Good points. I got two things I want to go over today. One was to showcase recent success we had with Project Mass General, the new tower on Cambridge Street. We spent a lot of time to work on some conduit risers to install in this building. And conduit riser assembly is not something that's new to us, but this building had some specific challenges. First of all, it was installed inside the building, not on the outside of the building. So we had to coordinate with iron workers and steel to try to get these things in place. And we had the added benefit of the risers not stack. And how many of you guys have been on projects where electric risers don't stack, right? So, when you're installing a riser in a modular fashion, you know, you got to get these things to drop straight through. And if you have an obstruction, then you have to get it before the obstruction goes in place. Main electric room in this building is on the sixth and seventh floor. So once we get past the eighth floor, there's no way to get down there. So it required us to get in very early in the project. We were out before a lot of the slabs were in place. So that gave us even more challenges, trying to find out a way to support these things so slabs could be put in place after the fact. So I'm going to share a couple photos, and I'll try to talk through some of this stuff with you, and you can review some of the challenge we had. Let me just add this now. Just inside. Okay. Okay. So I got a little library here. So the first photo I'm going to show is actually the support structures that they're using to hold the assemblies off the steel. So what we did was we incorporated rods into the horizontal members, and the rods would make contact with the steel, and then the distance of that rod held it up, the assembly up far enough to be able to pour the slabs and the concrete in. So you can see in this photo here, the workers are installing those assemblies. The riser is being dropped down, and these horizontal members are going across, and you can see the rods that are going through. And you see with the deck pan in place, a lot of times they had to drill through the deck pan, so that was done in advance prior to the setting of the equipment with the crane. It's another view of that. Now, these are all installed in various different risers throughout the building. I think the lower portion of the building had 6 separate risers, and then we go upstairs to the upper portion of the building, the tower. They have 4 risers, and each of these have multiple sections going in them. Some are small, but some are quite large, as we'll show as we go forward. And they all have different mounting requirements. This one here is showing a different process we use, which was a tube steel and a slider that goes inside of that. You can see these are much bigger rods that they have going down, making contact with the steel. This is a 15 kV riser, so these are 8 5-inch conduits. So this is a really large one we were talking about. This is one of the shafts that has a lot of different things going on in there. You can see there's a plate on the top and a plate on the bottom. You know, one of the things that we talked about when we were coming through the design is how we're going to connect these assemblies together. You know, trying to spin couplings on in the middle of a multi-layer assembly is challenging as it is. But because we have to have riser pull cans, we were going to have a separation every couple of floors anyway. So what we decided to do was incorporate the tops and bottoms of the JBs into these assemblies, and it would give us a little bit more structural strength, and it would also solve some elevation issues that we might have as we go along. So you can see in this picture here is a final installed picture of the top and bottom of this specific can. And it's a big space in the middle, obviously. We held these things about 3 feet apart. And the intent would be to go back and put a back panel and side panels and a front cover on this thing. The other thing we had to talk about was how we were going to get these assemblies in. Once we have these top and bottom panels on, how are you going to rig this assembly in such a way where you're not going to squish anything or compromise the lids? And one of the things we came up with was sending rigging slings all the way through the conduit assembly. So these assemblies would be attached to with a shackle to a plate. And as they lifted this assembly up, those plates would make contact with these couplings, and they would support the whole load. Another version of that. You can see in that one, So at the top here is the shackle and the plate. There's a little sling going through it here, and that's a typical arrangement we did. Another thing we did with these assemblies to give it some more rigidity was to incorporate, instead of using strut clips, we used U-bolts, and we felt they were a lot more solid. You know, if a strut clip twists, it may lose its integrity, and a pipe might shift. And so we decided to use U-bolts for all of these. You also see it on here as a quad strut. That's another different method we use for reinforcing. There's a lot of weight here. Most of the conduits we use, these are EMT. This is part of a test that we did, but all the ones we used at Mass General were all conduit, so it's a really heavy assembly when it's all said and done. So the quad strut gave us a little bit more strength when we were supporting the loads too. So here's a short video of a test we did at Pre-fab. So once we did all this analysis of what we were going to do, we did a sample test at our facility in Stoughton just to make sure that it would work and that the cable suspension would work, and that, you know, when we lifted it, there wasn't any structural issues with the assembly. And yeah, there's a little bending to it, but it actually worked it out really, really well. It continues, kind of a long video, but focus on that. There you go. It's up in the air. You can see at the bottom there's little shackles that are hanging out down there. Here's the plates that we use and the tube steels with the extensions. We used MAR to help us with the rigging. So, you know, we made these big assemblies. Now we got to get them to the job site. So these were all loaded onto trucks and brought to site. And they were, you know, MAR helped us on the truck get things up there. And then we had our guys receiving it and pushing it down the shaft. Here's another video of them actually coming down the shaftway. And you can see on the side over here is a chain fall. So not only did we support these off the floor with rods, but we also put safeties in there so that we could make sure it's more stabilized. Again, you don't have any slab or anything for permanent attachment. So a lot of this stuff was hanging up in the air about 18 inches. And there is your shackles on the bottom of those plates. Forward again in here a little bit. Mr. Badula wearing his safety glasses. Good pictures of them off the truck here too. There's our can bottom in this one. Larger and larger as we go. Nice view of them installed. You can see some of the assemblies with the missing sides on the cans and the U-bolts. All right, so I got one more I want to show, quick one, and this you can all view whenever you'd like. This is on the SullyMac LinkedIn page. So if you just get onto LinkedIn, look up SullyMac, and then just go to the videos, you can see they posted this kind of cool video of the large assembly. It's pretty cool. So really, really super job by the whole team. Just shows what you can do if you work together to try to solve a problem. But great job. Okay. This. Stop sharing. So the last thing I wanted to talk about, it's like, yeah, there we go, was prefabrication. And a lot of you may have heard, some of you may not have heard yet, but prefab is relocating. We were able to secure a nice facility in Braintree. It's new to us, but not brand new. So we're doing a little work to it now. Our goal is to be in there in August 1st. It's about 50,000 square feet of warehouse space. Prefab will take in about half of that. It also has 10,000 square feet of office space. So we'll be relocating not only prefab, but coordination there as well, and taking up about 5,000 square feet of office space too. It's really, really good for us. It's necessary. As prefab's been growing, it's been needing more space. Warehousing has been needing more space too, and the powers that be were able to find this for us, and it's a big help to kind of get this extra space. Now the prefab is moving out of 180 Campanelli. It's going to improve the amount of space that warehousing and tools has too. So it's a big help for us. So looking forward to it in August. Yeah, that's about it. I see John, you're on the call here. John, you want to say anything? You good?
I'm gonna take 2 minutes if I can. Just a quick shout to everybody involved on, particularly on the Mass General piece. There's an amazing amount of hours that go into getting to the point where we can actually lift it and shoot a video of it. So thank you to everybody involved in the field and in the office. So it's a pretty good collaboration to get to that point. So and it'll be a lot easier, and we'll know more the next time we do it. So it's first time down that path. We did a really nice job. So thank you guys. While I got a few people, I got your attention. I talked to the office yesterday, so I'll share a little bit of what I said to them yesterday with you. And specific to the economy in Boston, or the market in Boston, we have been seeing a really pretty dramatic slowdown, and it continues. Really started last September, and to this day, we are still seeing jobs either put on pause or just being shelved for various reasons. I think the whole country's seeing it, but I think specifically Boston, there's some other factors going on politically in Boston that are making development and construction even harder. So a lot going on. Certainly the worst I've seen since, I'd say, 2008, when we had this sort of, financial crisis. And I don't want to be too doom and gloom, but that's the reality that we're seeing. The better news is that I think the backlog that we have puts us in a really good position to weather the next couple of years. I think the backlog is key. I also think we've got a lot of diversity in the type of work we do. Not a lot of contractors can work in the private sector and also work in the public sector. We do that quite a bit, and the public work is picking up. So I think that's something that'll help us as well as we go forward. And then in addition to that, we do all kinds of, whether it's hospital, life science, commercial office, and then into the specialties, whether it's fire alarm or HVAC control. So that diversity of work is going to pay off. And then the last thing, and I'll close with this, that I definitely see paying off. We just had an opportunity. We had a client push for us to get us on a bid list. I won't get into the specifics, but the general contractor was not going to use us or put us on the bid list. And the client pushed, and we're on the list. The point of that story is, I think the reputation that we've all earned, and I'm looking at all of you when I say that, that reputation with clients and the reputation we have, I think is a huge asset as we go forward and we're hunting for projects large and small. So the hard work we put in over the last decades pays off particularly you see it pay off on these downturning economies. So I think we're as in good a shape as you can be. I think work-wise, manpower-wise, we've been hiring. I think in the last 60 days, we've probably hired 30 plus people, which is great. I see us pretty steady through the summer and through the fall and into the winter. So knock on wood, we're in good shape, but I figured I'd just share that with you while I had you for a minute. So, and I'll close with, I came on a little late, but I know you were talking about weather and temperature. So been a grind of a couple of weeks. So hang in there. Hopefully some cool weather's coming our way. But thank you guys. Appreciate it.
Thanks, John. I think that's going to wrap us up today. Appreciate you all coming by and give us the time. And we will do another one on September 26th. In the meantime, there'll be some monthly safety meetings too that I hope you'll all be available for. If you have any questions or anything, touch base with one of the labor supers or give me a shout, and we'll see you next time. Thanks very much.
Thanks, everybody.